AskReddit. What's the best job for a lazy person? Security guard. Source: been on Reddit the whole shift. Back in college, I was a computer lab monitor. I just had to sit in the lab and once every hour count the number of people there. If I was opening or closing the lab, there was about 15 minutes of work for that, but otherwise I could just surf the web or do my homework. I had this job in college. I did two things. Toward the end of the term, periodically yell, "If you are on Bebo, Facebook, or any other non-academic site, please make room for students that need a computer." The printer also had a green button that needed to be pressed once a paper tray was depleted so it would draw from the other tray. There was a sign above the printer that said this, a sign on the printer that said this, and a sign by the queue to the printer. Still, I constantly have to deal with this issue. The printer's not working. Did you press the green button? Yes. So if I go over there and press the green button, nothing will happen. Yes. Inevitably I'd press the green button and it would start printing away. I still have no idea why this would always happen. The failure to read and then the lying about having pressed the button. But as far as jobs go, this was pretty sweet. Though more busy than a parking lot security guard, which is what I came in here to suggest. I'm a backstage doorman at a Broadway theater. I sit around watching Netflix and Hulu, and all that shit all day. If I'm feeling ambitious, I'll read a book, or write some stand-up material. It's a pretty sweet gig and perfect for the laziest of people. Damn, I wanted to work as an actor on Broadway, but the superior job has just been sitting there the whole time. Some people were just born for this world, while others struggle and never find a strong hold. I worked as a security guard for a trucking company on the weekends. The rest of the company conveniently didn't work weekends, so I had the whole place to myself. I worked 12-hour days and walked around a small wing of the property every hour and documented anything that was out of the ordinary. Almost nothing was ever out of the ordinary. Other than that, I didn't do anything. It was actually really boring, because the guardhouse was outside of the Wi-Fi area, so I blew through my phone data really fast. To cure the boredom and ease my phone bill, I bought a portable DVD player and watched every DVD I had. Books? Surprisingly, management wouldn't let us read books. They said it was because you could get lost in a book and not be aware of your surroundings. Oddly enough, they had no problem with browsing on our phones or watching movies. They probably didn't want you to study your way out of that job. Big if true. Large if factual. Gargantuan if verifiable. Humongous if accurate. I used to go to the factory, where they make giant rotating machinery for power plant generators. It would take a week or more to machine these giant discs, and the machinist just sat there watching this giant, computer-operated machine do all the work. If an error popped up, the machine would stop, sound an alarm on the computer, and the machinist would pick up the phone and call an engineer to come fix it. Also, they didn't do any of the removal or setup. That was done by a team of engineers and transport folks. $30 an hour. The person that sits on a chair in the museum. They just sit there in one of the most quiet places I visit. And when a person stands too close to an artwork, they just cough a little and tell you to step back. Though a friend in college once had this job, and he said that it was so boring there was no way he could keep at it for very long. I had this job at a fairly popular museum. My duties included clicking a counter every time someone came in and telling them not to touch the art. I wanted to basically die after a while. How do you even interview for that? Why do you want this job? Though I'm very passionate about clicking and scolding people. I've always been very passionate about not sleeping under a bridge and starving to death. My response to why do you want this job in every job interview. Lifeguard at the Olympics. A guy on the surveying crew has the job of watching a surveying GPS unit all day. He gets dropped off with a unit, sets it up and sits there, and makes sure it doesn't get stolen, and that the blue light is still on. That's all he does every day, day after day. He thinks his job is the greatest thing ever. Find a remote data entry job and outsource it to someone who will do it for cheaper. Let them do your job and just collect the difference. A lot of IT-related office jobs at big companies involve a lot of downtime for one reason or another, where you're just sitting around waiting for work to come in. Just be careful what you wish for. I did a 6-month work placement at a place doing QC on medical data entry. It was as riveting as it sounds, and due to poor management there were massive stretches of time, like more than a solid week, where there was nothing for us to do. We were literally begging for work because we were so fucking bored. If someone had asked me to start hoovering the carpets, I would have jumped at the chance. Creative IT jobs like the video games and special effects industries are major exceptions. Can confirm. I work IT for a couple car dealerships, and it was literally just me checking out Reddit waiting for work to come in. I maybe had an issue once or twice a week that took me no more than an hour to figure in most cases. The only reason it's work now is because they decided to open up more dealerships that I have to manage and everything needs to be set up. There are a lot of things to do now. Sigh. Was good while it lasted. I am currently in my IT office at a car dealership browsing Reddit waiting for something to stop working. I've considered randomly disconnecting phones and PCs just to have something to do. My job, I'm basically ignored by everyone and wasting all my day on Reddit. I'm starting to wonder how long it will last. Where do you work, and how much do you get paid? I'm working for a plumbing contractor as a project manager, but 95% of stuff is managed on site, so they don't need me most of the time. I have this huge 12 by 14 foot office with multiple monitors, and nobody can see or want to know what I do. So I wait for the phone calls and place some orders here and there, and Reddit all day. The salary is $65K per year. Copy editor. You can pretty much work out of your own home and be a professional grammar Nazi. Pay is alright, but it's really not bad once you build up a client base, since you can literally sit on your ass for hours if your grasp on the language is strong. Writing/producing the final season of Game of Thrones. I just quit my job because it was too boring for me, but it paid 70 grand a year and had full benefits, and I spent 7 out of 8 hours a day on Reddit. Do tech support for a medical device company that makes a good product. Truck driving. And not in a bad way. I drove a semi for a few years after the military, and it is by far the best job for low-energy introverts. You get paid to do nothing other than stare out a window and listen to music/podcast/radio. You have to get out every now and then for work, but you won't be doing any back-breaking work, and it won't be longer than 10 to 15 minutes at most. Best job if you like to be alone and not really have to do anything. Plus it pays really well,